So I'm going to share with you a class I was once at. Maybe this was 30 years ago. It was on Tisha B'Av, and I was home at my parents' house. I think it was 30 years ago. I think I was single still. And we came home for Yeshiva of Ben Azamani, so I'm home on Tisha B'Av. There wasn't a big deal in the community to have classes, Tisha B'Av, and so on. So I said to my father, what should I do? He says, I go to a class, a shul down the block. Maybe, this guy is good. So I went to a class, and the title of the class was, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? And the man gave the class maybe for an hour. He wasn't even a rabbi. He gave the class for maybe an hour, and he went through all of the potential possibilities. And of course, there's no real explanation that works, other than Hashem in His infinite wisdom decides to do this sometimes. But he concluded with a quote from Elie Wiesel that stuck in my head since then. Elie Wiesel is one of the most famous Holocaust survivors. Said that after the few years after the Holocaust, he spent every waking hour trying to figure out, why would God do this? To put the Holocaust in perspective, what we experienced in this week, they experienced double of that every day for years. So he says, I kept asking the question, why would God do this? Why would God do this? How could God do this? Why does this make sense? Why would Hashem do this? He says, until one day I realized I'm asking the wrong question. The question is not why. The question is what. What do I do about it? That's where my focus belongs. Not on why Hashem did it. I'll never know. You will never get an adequate answer for why 1,000 Israelis on Simchat Torah deserved and Hashem's wisdom for this to happen. You'll never get an adequate answer. But stop asking the question. We believe in Hashem. He runs the world, sometimes with rachamim, sometimes with judgment, and He knows that that's what the world needs. I don't understand. I never will. But that shouldn't be my question, why? My question should be what? And what means, what do I do? Or as the Pasuk says in Bamidbar, the Pasuk says, when a war comes to your land, on this evil enemy who's coming against you, you call out to Hashem, you call out and you cry to Hashem. And then, hopefully, Hashem will bring salvation. So I don't know why. I do know what. I know that there are already many Jews across the world that understand the answer to what. Whether it's the person who called United and said, you guys must be inundated with so many calls of people to leave the country, 90% of which are SY, to leave the country. He says the truth. We're actually inundated with calls of people trying to fly to the country to go fight. Or the Orthodox Jew who yesterday went to JFK, stood at an El Al counter, and each person that came to the counter said, I'm flying to Israel because I want to fight in the army. He said, no worry, I'll pay your ticket. He paid 1, 2, 3, 5. He paid a total of 250 tickets of people to go back to Israel. That's a man who knows the answer to what? Or if it's the picture that someone sent me of a kitchen, an unkosher kitchen, a restaurant in Tel Aviv, where they're koshering the kitchen in order to serve kosher food to the soldiers that are religious. That's a person who understands the answer to what? Or if it's the picture of a tank, that is so literally a tank with, in one of the seatbelts is a Sefer Torah. Seatbelted into the tank. That's someone who knows the answer to what? Or the image of a man in a Jeep with his gun and his hose, ammunition, his helmet, everything. And then he has the Daf Yomi open on his knee. That's someone who knows the answer to what? Or the adorable, almost comical video that someone showed me of a group of soldiers. They look like they're in a bunker with there's guns out of the holes, singing Mipi All, as chilled as could be. They know the answer to what? Or if it's even the videos that someone showed me last night of every Bet Midrash in Lakewood, in Bet Midrash Gavoa, that fits a total of about 10,000 people, staying up late on Monday night, gathering to pray. Or if it's they understand the answer to what? Or if it's another video that someone else showed me last night of a man standing on tens of acres of land, maybe 50,000 square feet built out, of thousands of people in Tel Aviv, gathering together to fill packages, to send to families, to send to widows, to send to orphans, to send to soldiers. And the man's on the video talking. He says, look at this operation. There are people involved in trying to find lost people. They have a whole command center. They have a whole command center of people filling packages for soldiers, another one filling packages for families. Literally thousands of volunteers. There are people that have already gotten their head out of the fog and responded to the real question of the week. What? What do I do? Your question you need to ask yourself is, what do I do? Get out of the way. Hashem runs the world. Not always the way you want it. But what do I do? How do I pick myself up and do something? There are people who have the capability of fighting. There are people who have the capability of donating. There are people that have the capability of going and helping. There are people that have the capability of encouraging. There are people that have the capability of praying. And there are people that have the capability of learning. But every single Jew around the globe needs to do something, and something significant. All of us have the capability of changing. And the question, when we ask, why, is the wrong question. Instead, the question is what?